All right, welcome back to season 6 of our show, and today it's flank steaks, accompanied by a gorgeous risotto and mushroom creamy rice. Let's show you how to get it done. So the first thing we're gonna do is show you these steaks. Now, these steaks come in from the butcher, and the beautiful thing about these, they're already cut. You don't have to do anything to them. I mean, they're pretty much fat-free. And when they come in, they're rolled up like this. Or the butcher will roll them up. And this is how they usually sit in the package. So usually, a lot of the times you'll see these flank steaks, and they sit in the package just like that, rolled up. And when you unroll them, they're lacking oxygen. So the color that you get, it's lacking oxygen to the meat. All right, so don't think that they're bad steaks when you buy them, because they're not. They're just rolled up. And when you see them out of the package like this flat, they're nice and red. But if you do see them all brown and they're out of the package, then maybe they're a little older. All right, let's show you the rub. So we got some garlic powder, onion powder, 50-50 mixture, oregano. Now these are my ingredients, as much or as little as you want, always. Paprika. I'm gonna go with a whole lot of that. I like paprika. We're using a little bit of cumin in here, cumin powder. I like that taste on the grill because we are grilling these up. And then we got a little black pepper, just to taste. And like I said, these are my ingredients. Make them yours. We're just gonna give this little mix here. Just mix it on up. And now you got a rub that you can save in the cabinet. And I never ever make the same rub. So everything's different. It's all about what I'm in the mood for. You know, sometimes I might not want garlic or onion powder. I might just want salt and pepper. So make it yours. The salt I never add to any rub, because you can always put it on the meat and you can also see what you're salting. So the first thing we'll do is salt our meat. So get a good amount of salt on there. Now I'm gonna let these marinate in the fridge overnight. So I put a little bit less on than I normally would because they're gonna sit overnight. I leave them a little bit damp, just so the spices can set in. And in the fridge and away they go. So there we go. I'm gonna go stop about there. And now we're gonna get our spice mixture on. So I'm just gonna sprinkle some of that right on there. Again, as much or as little as you guys like. Make it yours, as I always say. If you don't like these ingredients, use whatever you like. And use me as a guide. I'm just here to just show you the wheel, even though the wheel's been invented. And you guys can pretty much roll it in your direction. All right, so we're gonna turn these around. I'm going for a nice amount on there because I like seasoning. I don't like anything bland. And you know, there's certain meats that you just don't touch with any kind of rubs or anything else like that. And when we run into those meats, I'll be sure to let you know, because we don't want to ruin them with seasonings. All right, so there you go. Now we're gonna put our oil on and just get it rubbed in. Now I'm gonna put these away in a plastic bag, like a Ziploc. And don't ever put these away in anything like a grocery bag, because a lot of the inks on those bags, they're not made for food. So a lot of the inks on those bags will come off. So don't do that. All right, there you go. Takes 2 seconds. Get them well lubed up and all those ingredients in there. Because what will happen if you don't rub it in good, you're gonna be stuck with this powdery meat, because the ingredients didn't set in good enough. So you don't want to do that. And if you want, you can even roll them back up, these skirt steaks. You can roll them back up just like they had them in the package. And this way, if you're lacking on room in your refrigerator, you can make the room. So you can do that too. And I might just roll this big one up and leave it in the package for tomorrow. All right, I'm gonna get situated, put these in the fridge, and we'll meet you back here. So stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, that steak is in the fridge and it's marinated and it's shelling out. So what goes inside of a great steak? Today we're showing you 3 different ingredients that can go inside of a great steak and even one on top. Let's show you what we got. All right, so the first thing that I feel complements a great steak is a great topping. So today we're using portobello mushrooms, big caps. And I feel that these on top of the steak are cooked down on the side. We're not sure what we're gonna do with them yet, but we know that we need a mushroom. So we're gonna start cutting these down. Now I'm cutting these big like this because I wanna use this mushroom the best way I can. Not only they're expensive, but they're beautiful. Now inside this mushroom, they call this the gill. Now you can take a spoon and you can cut these out, and what they do is they leave for a lighter mushroom. So in other words, if you're making a sauce, it's just gonna lighten up the sauce. The sauce is not gonna be as dark. But with the steak, I really don't care. I want 100% of the mushroom. So we'll put them there. And they just cut so beautifully, and leave them thick. This way they don't just disappear in your mushroom sauce. Now right on side of the mushroom is an onion. Now you see the way I'm slicing these? Mushroom and onions go beautifully together, as all of you know. So we got an onion here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna chop it in half. Specific way how you slice this. Now if you dice it and throw it in here with this, it's not gonna really go too good. It's not gonna, the texture combination between the mushroom and the onion is not good. So how do we change that? We thin slice it. So just go on the side, just like that. That's all you want. Come down and thin slice it. And make the amount yours. Now on this one, I think we'll go with just a little bit of the onion. I'm gonna put it back in here. And that's all we want. I'm gonna go about 1.5 onions. I always feel when you cut onions, if you got different dishes that the onions are going in, you want to cut enough onions for everything, because once you're crying, you don't want to cry again. So let's just cry now and deal with this onion and cut it up. And another way to keep from, tearing up, you'll run these underwater right before you cut them and you won't tear up. So we're using this onion to go inside a nice creamy risotto. So we're going to take this onion, I'm just going to dice it up real quick. So we'll just take it and just dice it. And we're going to dice it up pretty good here. Now we're making a very creamy risotto, and you don't really want to see the onion in there too much, so we're just going to go real fine on that. And again, you could use as much or as little as you like, or leave it out. This way you don't have any in there at all. So that's optional, you can leave that out. All right, so now we have our onion to go into our risotto. So there it is. And now we've got corn. So since we are making a creamy risotto, I like to add some corn to my risotto. So I'm gonna take fresh corn on the cob. I'm gonna take my knife, and I'm just gonna come straight down. If you don't have corn in season, the frozen corn will do. It'll get you through. Just come straight down. Now make it yours, the amounts of corn that you have. It can vary through the recipe, or you can leave it out. So every time you make something, just use me as a guide. Any ingredients that I'm using, you don't have to use. So if you don't like corn, just don't put it in. So I can look at this, judge it out, and I think that's about the max amount I want for this risotto, because I don't want a lot of corn in here. I don't want the corn to take over. I just want a hint of it. All right, so along with this risotto, we're making some mushrooms. So we're making a creamy mushroom corn risotto, and we're gonna add that onion in there just to complement it, but we're also gonna slice all these down. And this is a smaller baby portobello mushroom. And the way we would slice these, I'm not gonna use all of them, but we're just gonna slice them just like that. So we're gonna get these sliced up, and then we're gonna meet you onto the stove to show you the rest of this recipe, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, so we have 90% of our prep work done. Before we go on a little further, I'm gonna show you our risotto. So this risotto right here, this takes a long time to cook. 20 minutes standing in front of the stove, as you'll see later on, constantly stirring this. Risotto is a rice. It's a creamy rice. It has a lot of starch in it, and you don't want that starch to stick. So you have to time it out. Make sure all your prep work is done before you stand in front of the stove stirring this, because you're gonna be there a minute. All right, onto our hot water cornbread we're showing you. You're gonna need some cornmeal. Now I'm gonna start with probably about 2 cups of this. I'm gonna kind of judge it out. I'm gonna go about there with it. We're gonna need some flour. This is just white flour, 1/4 cup. 2 tablespoons baking powder. This is cornstarch, 2 tablespoons. Now we're just gonna stir this up. Now, at this point, you can add sugar in here. I'm not a sugar person. I don't like a lot of sweet things, but you could add sugar to this if you want. I didn't grow up with this with sugar in it, but I did grow up with a couple of pinches of salt in there. So that's what you're gonna need. I'm gonna put another pinch more. Now the prep work for this is done. Now, I'm changing the way I cook right now because of the risotto. And I'm gonna be standing in front of that stove right now, and I don't have a stirrer. If I had a stirrer right now, I could do other things while somebody's standing in front stirring the risotto, which you'll find a very interesting cook. All right, so now we got the hot water cornbread mixed in well, and that's what it should look like. You shouldn't see any white in there. And if you do, just give it another stir. You don't have to sift this or anything, and that's it. All right, so now we're gonna go onto the stove and we're gonna start cooking down the stuff to bring everything together. So stick around, don't go anywhere. Okay, so here is our corn mixture that we just made. You're gonna need some parchment paper and a tray to put this on. You're gonna need some cool water. This is gonna keep your hands cool in the process. And then you're gonna need some hot water. There's a reason why they call it hot water cornbread. We're gonna show you right now. So we take our hot water that I just took off the stove. It was boiling. And we're gonna just mix it in. And just go little by little. Now we need the right consistency to form this into our cornbread cakes. Because basically that's what we're making. We're making like a cornbread cake. And they call it hot water cornbread. A little bit more. If you go over, you're gonna have to add more mixture, so just be careful. I'm pretty much eyeballing this right out because I pretty much know where I want to be with this. But for you guys that are new to this, just go little by little. Now I'm getting dry. And now I'm gonna start to slowly add my water. Just scrape all the sides up and make sure everything is incorporated in here. All right. That should pretty much do it. Now, as it's going in here, it's cooking. That's right. This cornmeal is cooking. The hot water is cooking it. So just get it mixed up. I feel I'm about right on the consistency. And let's bring this together. Now you can test it out. Work with it quickly because your hands are going to get real hot. So you want to just kind of put it to one side like that. And this is piping hot. So let's get some of this together. I'm gonna put this down on the tray like that. And we're just gonna keep making them up. And we're gonna meet you back here, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, so our oil is nice and hot and we've reached our smoke point. We're using olive oil. So right in we go. I put them on the spatula and just drop them in. Safest way. Let them go a couple of minutes before you move them. Just like that. I'm gonna get this guy over here. I moved it a little too early, but it's all right. I want to make some room to get some others in. See how fast this goes? There we go. We got a full house. All right, I'm gonna let these go. About 2 minutes aside, maybe 3. I'm gonna jack my heat back up. If you put these on low, they'll fall apart right in the oil, right in front of your very eyes. So make sure you get enough heat on here. 375 we're going with this. Don't move them. And then flip them over. We'll meet you back here. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, so I turned a few of these over so far, but this is the other ones that I didn't turn over. So take it, double spatula, turn it over. That's the color you're looking for. I like mine a little bit darker. So I'm just gonna turn them over like that and just go a little bit darker with them. That's just me. Everybody's different. But that's how I like my cornbread. All right, we're gonna finish frying these up, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, time to pull these out of here. So this is what they should look like. And just get them on a paper towel so they can drain. Just drain them good and drain them over each other so this way you don't have any accidents. Just like that. All right, we're gonna finish getting these guys out of here and we'll meet you back here to cook up the rest of the goodies, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, our hot water cornbread is looking fantastic. It's off to the side. We're gonna show you a beautiful mushroom sauce to go on top of that steak. All right, so we have our mushrooms and we have those cut up onions that we showed you. Now we're going in with a little butter, oregano, black pepper, salt and pepper, port wine. This is a very sweet port wine, and we're using an olive oil today. 2 cloves of garlic we're gonna need, and that's it. So onto the stove we go. All right, so we're starting to sweat down some of these onions. I figured we give them a head start so you guys aren't waiting. There's that little bit of garlic sitting on the side there, so this is gonna get them all incorporated together. We're gonna go in with a pinch of salt. Now I'm showing you guys this in stages, you know. Normally I'd have a risotto on the stove going too and stirring it as I'm going along with this one. You can cook a lot of things at one time, but you really have to be careful of everything and make sure everything comes out right, nothing burns. And you guys can learn how to ride the bike and juggle at the same time at your own pace. I'm just showing you this right now. All right, so let's get in a little oregano. I like a lot, so I'm gonna go in with a lot. Black pepper, since we added our salt. And we're just gonna cook everything down with the onion. And now by the time that you get your mushroom in here, it's already seasoned. So you don't have to really go in with anything else unless you want a little bit more salt. And that's it. So we're gonna let this cook down, and then we're gonna meet you back here to stick the mushrooms in, so stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, so our onions have cooked down and they've softened. So you just want to give those a stir and make sure everything from the bottom is incorporated in. And now we're going to add our mushrooms. Use my hands in here and just get them all in. We want these guys to cook down gently. So I'm saving that butter right there. We're putting that in last. And along with this, we're going to add a little bit of the port wine on the bottom. Just like that. Let's give this pan a little shake. And we're just going to stir these mushrooms around. Don't disturb them because they're beautiful. So you don't want to break them up. So just get them in and just gently move them around. Like that. If you move the pan, you don't have to move them. So once this liquid gets out, I'm just going to give this pan a flip and flip them over instead of move them over. And there we go. Let them cook down gently and then we'll be able to flip them over. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, mushrooms are cooked down. They're not cooked down all the way because you want to get the butter in them and get them silky, but you can see that now they won't break on you if you go to move them around. So now you can move them around. So just give them a little toss there if you can. If not, just gently move them. They won't break up on you once they start to set. And you can see how much they shrunk up. So we're going to take some butter, a whole stick. That's right. We'll get that right in the middle of the pan. And we're going to let that cook down. And as it cooks down, just gently shake the pan because it's going to create a sauce as you move the pan. You'll get the air in there and it's just going to make a beautiful sauce. That's it. We'll meet you back here, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, the butter is melted and now look at that beautiful sauce in there. So that's it. I'm going to end the heat with this and I'm just going to let them sit. And then we're ready to put those on top of our steak. Now you can put these off to the side. Shut off the heat, and you could reheat these later on if you want. So do them early. We'll meet you right back here. Let's get that risotto going. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, we have 2 down. We got 2 more to go. All right, so what do we do now? So here's a risotto that takes about 20 minutes to stand in front of and constantly keep stirring. And it's just me cooking. I had steaks here. They're going to take about 12 minutes on the stove. I'm going to go for my steaks first, let those rest for about 15 minutes to 20 minutes, and then at that time, I can cook my risotto. So let's look in this pot and show you what we have. All right, this is what we have going into the risotto. Corn, onions, and we got mushrooms over here. So after we come back from cooking these steaks, I'm going to show you how to make a beautiful risotto. Stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, nice cold night. Let's get these steaks on. All right, it is 28 degrees in South Georgia. It is cold. So let's get these nice steaks on. I'm using infrared. I use this in cold weather cooking. There we go. All right, I'm gonna cook these up, probably about 12 minutes cooking time. I'm just gonna keep flipping back and forth, back and forth. You can flip as many times as you want, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, I'm firing these steaks up at 750 degrees. Let's show you what we got. Time to flip these guys. Look at that. That thing hit 750 degrees within 3 minutes. That's a beautiful grill. All right, on this side, few more minutes and I might go back to the other side. Don't go anywhere. All right, we're about 6 minutes in. I'm just gonna move these guys around. They say infrared grills don't flame up. Don't believe them. All right, we're gonna let this go some more. I think I'm gonna, maybe I'll flip it back on that side. Nah, I'll leave it over there. Like I said, you can flip these guys and move them around as much as you like. They're yours. But you get a better job when you go back and forth with them. I'll meet you back here. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, so I'm just about to pull these. Now this steak here was a lot thinner than this guy here. So what did I do? I put this on the top rack, but I also put this underneath of it to protect it from the heat. It's still cooking up there, but nice and slow. So I got this one down here cooking, then I'm gonna drag this one down at the end, fire it up again. This way they cook even. That's it. So we'll meet you back here. Don't go anywhere. All right, it is time to pull these guys. I think I'm pretty much happy with this one, definitely. Let's put that there. Look at that hot heat come off of there. And I'm going to pull this one too. Kill my infrared. Broil Master. I tell you, you're not going to beat this grill. So you guys out here that have them, you know what this is. But for you guys that don't have a Broil Master infrared, get one. All right, we'll meet you inside. Plate up. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, so first thing I did, I put my corn and my onions on the stove. I have a pretty aggressive high heat on here too. So I'm cooking this down in olive oil pretty aggressively. So here's my risotto. I'm going in with it. And I'm gonna get it stirred up in here, because I want to open up the rice to take on all the flavors. So let's just toast this up. Now at this point, you have a chance to walk away from this. And if you're going to do anything important right now, now's the time to do it. So while we're toasting it up, the clock starts when you go in with the white wine. So at this point right now, I'm going in with my white wine. There we go. And there it is, the voice of doom. All right, so now that we got that in there, and we're still cooking aggressively, I'm gonna go in with the first bit of my chicken stock. Just like that. And I'm gonna give that a stir. At this point, you are locked in. You ain't going nowhere at this point. So hang out and enjoy the ride. So we're just gonna stir. And when this starts to heat up, we're gonna keep backing down off the heat. And we're gonna constantly just stir. Very gentle like that. You don't have to do this, but just back and forth a little bit. And have fun. At this point, you can pull up a stool and enjoy yourself. So we're gonna let this go for about 5 minutes. And then halfway through, we're gonna get these mushrooms in, we're gonna cook that, and they're gonna release more water. And that's it. Stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, I just wanna show you how much these mushrooms shrunk down. I mean, look at that. They're actually adding water to the risotto, which is great, because they're adding flavor. So this is why I put all those mushrooms in here. So I'm gonna wait till this cooks down some more, and I'm gonna add more of our stock, because this rice is gonna get thirsty again. But this is just a good way to feed risotto with plenty of flavor. You see that? All right, we're gonna finish stirring and cooking. And when we put the last batch of water in, we'll meet you back here. But we want a nice creamy risotto. Lots of flavor, nice rich creamy risotto. Stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, we are about 12 minutes in this right now, 13 minutes in this. I just want to show you this. Now, for the people that make risotto out here, see this? This is stock. It's ice cold. I never heated it up and put it on the stove and dumped it in here and add it as we go along. Why? I don't feel you need to. So I've got this on pretty much medium heat and I'm stirring. And at the end, I'm going to jack up the heat. And I feel the starches are going to come out of this rice and make it nice and mushy. Basically, that's what you're doing. You're letting all the starches come out of the risotto because it's a very starchy rice. And it's going to get mushy on you regardless. And make it nice and creamy. So, those are my thoughts. You guys let me know in the comment section. What would you do? But you'll see at the end, I'm going to get to the same place you are by heating it up. So do you really need to heat it up? Let me know. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, we are approaching that final stretch. I want you to listen to this. If you leave the rice alone, you'll hear a little suction on the bottom. It means that all that starch is starting to come out. Hear that? So this is where you need to slow down and be careful and add more water or broth. In this case, we're using chicken stock, so very light chicken stock. I'm going to add a little bit more stock. And I'm just going to go nice and easy with this. And taste it as you go along. So I gave this a taste. It needs a little bit more black pepper. I like a little black pepper in my risotto. And look how tiny those mushrooms got. See, when I put all those mushrooms in, you guys probably thought that's way too many mushrooms. But look at that. Look at the mushroom ratio now. So if you were to serve a plate like that, everybody gets plenty of mushrooms. See that? And with an ice cold stock, look at all that starch that came out of there. So you can do this. I feel with the hot water or hot stock, when you do this, it cooks just a little bit faster. So you might stand here for about another 5 minutes more stirring instead of 20. You might hit 25 minutes, but you'll make the perfect risotto every time. So it might take you a little bit longer, but start with a cold stock. That's my opinion. All right, we're gonna finish this up. We're gonna meet you back here, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, our risotto is done. And look at this. You see all those mushrooms we put in? Where are they? They're in here. All those mushrooms, right? Now, I added some salt to this at the end, but you wanna just give this a try. Excellent. You could use a touch of salt. That's it. I'm gonna give it a stir. You know, for you guys that don't know how or you're scared of risotto, you know, if you could mess up rice and you guys aren't really good with making rice and you say every time I make rice it comes out mushy, you'd be great at this. Because this goes against the grain, literally, of everything about making rice. You put plenty of water in it, you stir it until it's mushy. So, if you guys want to get this right the first time, cold water or cold stock. Don't use hot water to make your risotto, and you'll be spot on every single time. A little bit longer, but you'll be spot on. All right, that's it. We'll meet you back here on the chopping block, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, here we are, Season 6's chopping block, flank steak, creamy mushroom corn risotto, and hot water cornbread. Let's show you what we got. Beautiful. That is what 750 degrees gets you on a 28 degree night. It might be 26 by now. All right, let's get these off to the side. And I think I'm gonna slice into this one right here. Just bring over our cutting board. And we're gonna get some slices. The grain goes this way. You can see the lines in it. So what we're doing is we're slicing just like this, right against the grain. And look at that. This is a very underrated steak. It's a gorgeous steak, and this happens to be one of my favorites. If you like London broil, you'll love this. I mean, they're almost impossible to mess up on. But look what the infrared does. It gives you this even, red, beautiful steak. And a tender steak too. And let's take a look at this. See this? This just pulls right apart. Let's give that a shot. That just demolishes London broil. It demolishes most steaks. But if you guys love London broil, you'll love this one. I mean, I would eat this over filet mignon or a porterhouse. There's just no comparison. So I'm gonna cut this up, the whole thing, just to show you what every part of this looks like. I mean, how do you go wrong with this? You need a long enough knife to really slice into this. And you just want to hit it on an angle. This takes no time to slice through. And even the end of it, look at this, even the end of it, it's hard to mess up. So if you want this medium well, you can overcook this by a long shot, and it'll probably still be juicy. I just don't eat well done steak. But for you well done lovers, you probably would love this one. Well done. All right, look at that. Beautiful, right? So let's pick these nice pieces up, and we'll get them back into our tray. And then we're gonna plate up for you guys. But I mean, you really can't go wrong with this steak. And what I like to do before I move a cutting board is you can take the ones down at the bottom and just dip them back in all that juice and use all that juice on your cutting board. And don't let this go to waste. Just look at that. Just let it soak in the steak and take it in. All right, there we go. We're gonna get this off to the side. And now, how I like to serve this, let's show you that beautiful risotto. Look at that. Now you want to finish this off with a little fresh olive oil, but a good one. Extra virgin, of course. But you want a really fine olive oil on this one as a finisher. You don't want to cook it in. You want to put it on afterwards, which I did. So I'm going to bring in a plate, and look at this. So for you guys that have been heating up the broth or water to make a beautiful risotto, an extra 5 minutes for spot-on risotto, you don't have to. Look at that. It's sticky, it's cozy, creamy. That's everything you want in a risotto. All right. And we're gonna get some steak onto this plate. I'm just gonna put it on just like this. I'm gonna mix and match. Get some nice gorgeous pieces on here. Just like that. And don't think we forgot about those beautiful mushrooms on there. That's yet to come. so we got that. We're just gonna clean this plate up a little bit. And now we're gonna get our mushrooms on. So this is that mushroom sauce. Look at that. Gorgeous, right? Got the mushrooms and the onions. So let's get some of that. And then right over onto the steak. Now I'm just gonna park this on one end of the steak, because we want to show that steak, right? That's what we want to do. We don't want to cover it up. And here's a little sauce that we made. And that's going to go right on the end of that. So this way you got that nice sauce in there as well. All right, so we'll clean this plate back up. Wipe it up. And here's our hot water cornbread. We're gonna get a nice piece of that and just stick it right onto the plate. All right, I'm gonna spin this around just like that. And of course, we're gonna garnish, as you know we do in every episode of our show here. So I'm gonna take this parsley, I'm just gonna park it on the top just like that. And then we're just gonna complement the side. I'm gonna break this and complement the side of the plate, just like that. And there you go. A very beautiful, luxurious, refined flank steak. All right, let's get into it. First thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna turn this plate off to the side. Let's give that skirt steak a shot. You saw how tender that was. I'm gonna go for some mushroom, little onion in there. If I had one steak to eat for the rest of my life, or cook, it would probably be that. Price-wise, just quality-wise, there's no gristle in here. There's no fat. It goes great with mushrooms. It goes basically great with anything. You can grill it, you can pan fry it. It's a wonderful steak to work with. Amazing steak. All right, let's try that risotto. Creamy, earthy, luxurious. I mean, that corn gives it the perfect bite along with the mushrooms in there. You need something to complement the risotto. Because basically, it's rice. And rice alone by itself, not that exciting. But the minute you mix that risotto, a little bit of that wine, salt and pepper, and you got that creaminess of the corn that cooked down in there and the mushrooms, they both became creamy with those onions. Outstanding. All right, time to get into that hot water cornbread. That is the perfect bread to have with this meal. And it just soaks up everything in here because the meal is a juicy meal. You have a lot of cream from the risotto, you have a lot of juice from those mushrooms, the steak, and then you have that nice cornbread in there. And it's a drier cornbread. It's not like the cornbread that you guys are used to. This hot water cornbread, it's a little bit drier than a normal cornbread. So you need something like that to suck up all that flavor in there. That's the perfect bread to do that way. All right, we're gonna get organized. We're gonna meet you guys right back here. Stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, and there it is. Flank steak. Cooked to perfection. We cooked that at 750 degrees on a very cold night. On top of that, laid some portobello mushrooms, an old port wine sauce, accompanied by a beautiful, creamy corn mushroom risotto. You gotta try that. That's a must try. And use the cold water. And we followed up with some hot water cornbread. That's also a must try. And it goes perfect with this meal. Hope you guys loved this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like always, thank you for coming. We enjoyed having you. And with no further ado, gotta get that last master taste there.